Hello, everybody. Travis is away again, so that means that Bryn and Justin, well, me and Bryn, Justin and Bryn, we are gonna do the thing we always do, which is just rank weapons. Just rank weapons. And today we have the Survivor melee weapons. We have 12 of them that we're going to be talking about today. And it's going to be pretty fun because Survivor weapons are really cool. You know, like, there's some cool stuff there. I mean, that's probably another way of saying bad, right?
It's possible.
Yeah, but
some of it's not the greatest.
No, but there are some. They're all just kind of fun though. The design space for Survivor weapons is really cool. But without much more talk, let's get to our number 12, which is Sledgehammer 0.
It's just kind of bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the fight -1, deal +1 damage, and the double action for +2 and +2 damage, which can be okay if you're playing a flex, but like the -1, the top action in red is almost impossible to use.
Yeah. Like, the use cases for it is, like, Daniela, and she's Guardian, so it, like, doesn't even, like, really count.
She can do better at 0.
Yeah. And then, like, you also might say, like, Will York, but Will York also just has so many better options on this list.
Like the blue ones.
Yeah. And, I mean, like, even just, like, you could probably build... We're going to, like, Gravedigger Shovel, we know it's a Survivor weapon. You could probably build a meme deck that's actually like Lantern and Gravedigger Shovel and probably still do pretty good as a flex compared to like Sledgehammer.
Yeah. Yeah, not particularly action efficient, but get to do some of the job.
Yeah, I mean we've never seen that, the actual like Gravedigger Will
just
York.
Bring a bandolier, play Will York normally.
Yeah. Just 2 shovels.
Yeah. Let's go.
But yeah, I think that this one is just like even like spoiler alert, the upgraded version, it doesn't really like mesh with the Survivor thing. And I know like the numbers on it are still fine, like they're still good numbers, but like it still feels much more like the Guardian side to take advantage of it, especially at level 0. So yeah, it's worse than even Gravedigger Shovel, which is our number. No, sorry, it's Fire Extinguisher. I forgot this card existed. It's that not great. 2 cost, 1 experience. Takes up a hand slot. Fight, you get +1 fist for this attack. As an action, you can exile Fire Extinguisher and evade. You get +3 foot for this test. If you're successful, evade each other enemy engaged with you as well.
Yeah, as a weapon, it's actually just knife without the cool text for twice the cost.
Mm-hmm.
You do get the neat bit of utility where you can exile it and try to evade like everybody. But that's not really a good thing for a weapon to do.
No, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like as a utility option, this is pretty okay. I mean, I guess it's technically not a weapon. You couldn't find it with prepared for the worst. But
Well, I guess I did just search melee.
it is like that's the job it does.
Yeah, that's why it's in your deck, to help you fight or to evade.
Yeah, if you're playing it for the evade option, the card's pretty solid. But we're ranking these as though they were melee weapons.
Yeah.
So,
and even then, like this feels like a very like old Survivor card, right? And it is. It's very old. I don't think I've ever actually played it because like for like with 1 experience, even in Survivor back then when there wasn't much to do, there was still like better stuff to do, right? Especially even in the exile. Like you compare this to like Flare, and like even just in Dunwich, it's not an impressive card at all.
Yeah, like maybe if you're playing a down the rabbit hole deck and you've taken in the thick of it, like you might include these to upgrade into the next one.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't think they're super good.
No.
Maybe some sort of deja vu pile.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like the evade it's powerful.
Yeah.
But
only at higher player counts though, really, as well, because you are very rarely engaged with more than 1 enemy.
And like also realistically, most survivors can just like evade. So like if you're at a lower player count, you get an enemy and you evade with a fire extinguisher, like you just have like better ways of doing it.
Yeah, like using your number.
Yeah.
Because most of them have like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So, well, 4 because they don't get 5s.
No. Except for unless you're Rita Young.
Rita's not really red.
No. She's a green she's like not allowed in the club though. She has to like stand at the gate, let me in.
Yeah,
and they don't
because they serve alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a minor.
And Daryl's a seeker. We know how that works as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, on to our number 10, which is Gravedigger Shovel, where I thought it was going to be. So this is a 2-cost, level 0, item to a weapon melee, takes up a hand slot. As an action, you fight, you get +2 fists for this attack. As an action, you can discard Gravedigger Shovel, discover one clue at your location. This beats Fire Extinguisher because +2 fist is not nothing.
It is better than the top action on Knife.
And it's also like 0 experience in comparison to the Fire Extinguisher. And the utility use, because that's a big thing on these survivor weapons, is that the discovering a clue is just like better than other things. Like a Tesla's clue.
Yeah, it's probably stronger than evading an enemy.
Yeah.
Unless you're evading like a bunch of enemies, but then like, why didn't you bring a turkey?
Mm-hmm. And this one also has like the weird... this one also has like that weird thing where you could build like a strange flex deck and like actually scavenge this back as well, right? Like it has that side of it that goes too. So it has like that survivor thing that pushes it over the edge, but it's still only like 10. It's still not like a weapon you're looking to fight with.
Yeah, as a weapon, this card is mostly bad.
Yeah.
It's good if you're trying to, like, I don't know, get people out of hiding if they're hiding under a pile of dirt. In the Scarlet Keys, I guess it does that job very well.
It does do that. Actually, no, that is actually very nice for that, because +2 is pretty high for that.
+2 is very strong for not having to spend anything to get it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, number 9 is Baseball Bat. This is a level 0, 2-cost asset, takes up both hand slots. Fight, you get +2 fists for this attack. It deals +1 damage. If we stop there, this would be incredibly powerful.
Be very good.
However, if a skull or autofill symbol is revealed during this attack, you discard Baseball Bat after the attack resolves.
Yeah, it's very cheap for what it does, but it's got a lot of risk inherent in its use, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of, in the early days at least, was Survivor's thing. These days it's kind of just like, just don't fail.
Yeah, just don't fail. Don't fail and don't die.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty good at what it does.
I think Baseball Bat is... I actually played it very recently. I mean, at this point, when I say very recently, I mean like 2 years ago. But it was when we did our Blind Innsmouth run in my Silas deck. Because, like, it's still actually, like, a very good weapon. You just, like, have that weird... It has that weird thing where you can't... like, rely on it as your main weapon. You know, like, it's not like your solution to fight until the end of time. But +2 fist and +1 damage for 2 resources is, like, very good. And if you get realistically... Like, how much damage out of this do you need to be happy? And, like, the answer is probably, like, 6 to 8, right? When you hit that, you're like...
I think I get six damage out of this, and I'm, like, not upset.
Yeah. And, like... I'd still play Baseball Bat even, like, now. It's like, it has that risk, but, like, if it never breaks, oh my god.
Yeah, it is always disappointing when you play it and it breaks immediately, and that's what you remember. But
yes,
it's still kind of good.
It is true. You'll never remember the time where you just, like, dealt, like, 10 damage with it. You're only going to remember the time where it breaks instantly.
Or breaks at an inconvenient time. Like when you're fighting an enemy with 4 health and you break it on the first swing.
Yeah. And then you're just
not great.
But, like, it's also one of those things that I think that this card even is, like, to go what I said, where it's not your main weapon. You're like, you play you're a survivor. You play brute force, right? Like, you play all these other tricks that, like, use to balance it out, and it can be, like, a good killing tool.
Yeah, or if you have access to blue cards for Bandolier. This card also does a reasonable job of applying damage while whatever it is you are paying to put in your hands doesn't expend its uses.
Yeah, definitely. All right, on to number 8. It's Baseball Bat, just with better art.
Yeah, it's actually kind of strange that they printed two such similar cards, but gave one of them better artwork.
Yeah. So that's our number 8. Yeah. Number 7. We got Gravedigger Shovel level 2. So it's a 1 cost, so it's 1 less expensive. That's a weird way to say the sentence I just said as a human. But as an action, you can fight. You get +2 for this attack still. You can discard it to discover a clue, or you can remove it from the game to discover 2 clues instead. Not exile, just remove from the game.
Yeah, you don't have to buy it back. It does also commit for another punch, so it does a better job if you've already got something to fight with and you draw it. But 2 Tesla's clues is for most red characters, probably worth 2 of their actions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also can see like a build that you do where you just like have a gun in one hand and this to just finish people off in the other, or to like kill something small that shows up. Or even like you find a 2 health enemy with 2 attack and you're like, I'm just gonna attack this motherfucker twice.
Yeah, Justin's just showing up to play this game and he's like mid-fantasy concept, beating rats to death with a shovel in the basement.
Hell yeah. Just that's all I want to do. I just want to like hit rats with a shovel.
Yeah.
But like that's why like it gets the edge over baseball bat, and also like the bottom ability is really good, right? Like if you can scavenge this back and get like if you get like 4 or 5 clues from this, like that's really juicy.
No, it is.
Yeah.
And like makes it a lot better with Will Yorick too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it only costs 1 to replay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is really nice.
I judge all red weapons on how good they are with Will Yorick, and
I mean, like as you should.
Nothing else.
Because like who's the other red? Like Silas is the other red fighter, but like Silas, your job is to find your harpoon, right? Like that's like what you do.
Like I suppose you could fight on what's her name, the mail carrier.
Stella.
Stella. Yeah. They do a pretty okay job of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like they've got a 3, right?
I think so. Yeah, because they have 2 book. They have 2 book and 3 fists.
It's 2 book and like 3s in the other 2.
Yeah, it's 3-2, 3-4. They have 4 foot because they're a red character, as we said earlier. They have high foot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that is true. You could do that. But like Will York is like the survivor fighter, and even like you could say like Daniela, but no, Daniela's still a guardian on the tin.
Yeah, you can't even play this. Well, you can play this card, but why would you?
Yeah, just play some of the ones that are higher. I mean, like, yeah, it's still like these aren't like this isn't like a great weapon, but it's there.
No, but it does it does a thing. It has like a niche to exist in.
Yeah. All right, number 6 is the Sledgehammer level 4. 2 hand slots, fight, you get +1 fist and deal +1 damage to the attack. Triple action, you get +5 fist and deal +5 damage for this attack. Now you might be thinking, this is only a 6? Yeah. That's just because, like, when Bryn and I were talking, the stuff that's higher has, like, more inherent survivor synergy. In Bryn's case, Will York. But also just, like, generally, like, the Sledgehammer's, like, good, but as a survivor, you're probably not getting much out of that +1 fist, right? Like,
yeah, it's putting you to 4, maybe. Like, it's pretty okay in Silas or Yorick, but you could probably do better.
I mean, even in, like, Silas, I'm more prone to, like, just playing a fire axe even into scenario 8. It's kind of wild. But it's true, like, the numbers on it are good, but, like, it's better for Guardians than it is for Survivors, I think.
This card does way more Guardian thing than it does Survivor thing. You could build like an interesting flex deck where this is just like a weapon in your deck, and sometimes you're like +5 means that I have big number.
Yeah.
And we need to do damage this turn.
Yeah. I mean, I also think it would be kind of fun when like you use the bottom action and you have oops as backup. That's like that feels like a fun thing to do with it, but even then it's just like then you have to play oops.
Yeah, because if you do miss with this, you probably kill whoever you hit.
Yeah. Yeah, because then also Survivor doesn't have, like, the action compression that Guardians can have. Like, if you're playing this as a Survivor, you're probably realistically, like, unless you're Silas, you're Yorick or Daniela where you have blue access, right? Which is a little bit strange. But as Travis always says, God rest his soul, that a lot of these multi-class cards don't feel like they're multi-class. And I think this is an example of one. All right.
Wait, you're telling me you don't want to play Sledgehammer Wendy with green cards for extra actions?
It would be a fun deck to see in action, but I don't think I'd ever want to play it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. But fun as hell. And great stories,
You just get to fight at 6 and that, like...
Just hope. Like a mindless dancer, you're like, oh, what did I do?
Looking at this gumption and this overpower.
All right.
It would kill it.
It would kill it. It would.
Yeah.
It would. Number 5, we have... Meat Cleaver. This is a 3 cost, takes up a hand slot. Fight, you get +1 fist of attack, +2 if you have 3 or fewer remaining sanity. If this attack defeats an enemy, you may heal a horror. An additional cost to initiate this ability, you may take 1 horror to have this attack deal +1 damage. So you love this weapon, you play it a lot.
Oh yeah. No, this like the reason this one isn't higher up the list is because it has a very hard time dealing with enemies that have more than 3 health. Because you can't just take a horror to do extra damage forever, unless you've got Pete, and even then you can't do it forever in one turn. And enemies do require like a slightly more urgent solution than the other kinds of problems in this game for the most part. Getting to heal off of like cutting up rats and like guys is pretty okay. It's very strong against swarming enemies, but yeah, just like a good level 0 weapon.
Yep. I think it's cool. I think it's flavorful. I think it has like the synergy inherent that's with the survivor class, which edges it out like over Sledgehammer 4 because also the 4 experience that requires, and like the damage output is certainly not the same. Like I'm not going to like sit here and lie to you and say the numbers are like on par, right?
Well, you're not going to tell him that you're pogging out of your board or whatever. Whatever people say.
No,
on
that's
the internet
for the top 3. That's for the top 3.
Okay.
But like it's
like an animation of Justin, but his eyes are bouncing out of his head.
Oh my God, meat cleaver.
No.
But like it has more synergy with the survivor class. I would love to see more of this 3 or fewer sanity remaining thing, like because I feel like if we get a few more of those cards, there's like there's the desperate skills.
Almost a deck.
Yeah. And like the Pete synergy, like unfortunately you mostly just like a lot of survivors, you're gonna play Pete, and then you might even play Jessica, and like you're just gonna have this be a fine killing tool, and then you're gonna have like something else to finish off small things probably, or even just like I mean realistically you could like key in one hand, meat cleaver in the other. Like it's that weird kind of scrappy survivor thing that I think this card actually does a really good job of showcasing.
Yeah, plus 2 fist on a level 0 weapon is very strong.
Yes. Yeah, and like you're playing it for that.
Yep.
Right? Like you play it in Silas, which you can get there. You can play it in, I mean, you play Rita also. Rita, you can play that in Rita because Rita wants to play Pete Sylvester anyway. Yeah. Silas also wants to play Pete Sylvester, unless you're doing it skills only, in which case, you know.
Just like still wants to.
Just can't. But yeah, no, I think it's a good, and I think it of top 5 is a good place for it. Let's go to our number 4, which is Fire Axe. This is a 1 cost, 1 hand slot. As an action, you can fight. If you have no resources in your resource pool, this attack deals +1 damage. As a lightning bolt during an attack, you can spend a resource. You get +2 fist for the skill test, limit 3 times per attack. So this is a good weapon. It kills things like from scenario 1 to scenario 8. You have to play like you can't just. You have to plan for it. Like your deck needs to like be built around Fire Axe to make it work. But I mean, like, Madame Lebranche gives you +4. But the true power of Fire Axe is when you get your number high enough that you can just always deal +1 damage. You don't get a bonus for it, but, like, the idea is that, like, when you do the fight action, but the idea is that you find your bonus in other places. It deals a lot of damage, and it's just, like, a pretty good weapon. I don't think it's great. I think there's only like 2 survivor weapons that I think are great, and those are our top 2. I think like it's a good weapon, but like I think like the Guardian and even some of the rogue weapons are better than survivor weapons for the most part.
I think rogue weapons tend to be very strong.
Yeah.
Just, only Tony's good at it, so.
Yeah. I mean,
this is not the place to.
But I mean,
for me to bring that up.
It is true because I mean, like the upgraded Switchblade is probably one of the best melee weapons in the game, right? For just the numbers you get for what you take out of it. I mean, this card also only costs 1. Like I know you have to pay more to get the damage out, but you're building around it, right? It's also fun in Preston. It's very fun in Preston. Is it good? No, but it's probably better than Sledgehammer Wendy because I've won a campaign with it. All right, let's get to our top 3, which is the upgraded baseball bat. So, 2 cost, 2 experience, 2 hand slots, 2 fist icons. You get +2 fists on the fight action. Stack deals +1 damage. If a skull or autofail symbol is revealed during this attack, you choose 1. You either return baseball bat to your hand after this attack, or this attack deals +1 damage and discard baseball bat after this attack.
It's just a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage.
And this one has a whole lot less, the window for it to break and like a bad situation for you is much smaller. And even if it does, you can probably just take turn it into 3 damage from 2 and dig yourself out of there.
Yeah.
It probably works for that.
Yeah, because there's tons of tools. Like, I think that this card actually doesn't have a downside. It can be a little bit awkward, like if you return it on your first attack, but you're a survivor. If you're not planning to, like, potentially have to evade something, like, you're probably the clue getter, and you shouldn't be playing baseball bat. But, like, the +1 damage and discarding it after the attack is very powerful. Because, like, what happens, like, so let's say you, like, once again, you're going to remember the time where you draw it on your first test against, like, a 4 health enemy, right? But let's say, for example, the first one you deal 2 damage, the second one you deal 2 damage and kill it, but you drew a skull. Return it to your hand. It sucks on the auto-fail still. Like, that still sucks. But realistically, like, everything sucks on the auto-fail. Especially, like, when you commit skills to it and you hope to God that, you know, you don't power up some cultist to become super powerful. But there's also so many ways for you to bring it back from your discard pile. Like, scavenging is probably not the way. But, like, resourceful can bring it back. Yeah. That salvage with the guy who looks like my dad can bring it back. And, like, put it into play, too, right? And, like, it's dirt cheap.
He does look like your dad.
He does, yeah, you know. I ain't lying. And it only costs 2. It only costs 2 for all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the upgraded scavenging might not be terrible with this, because you get to play it as part of the thing. But,
and if you're worried about your baseball bat and where am I going to get the money, Schaffner's sells a lot of baseball bats.
It's what they do, actually. Yeah. The only thing they do, except if you want something else.
Yeah. Then they do that, too.
Then they do that. Yeah.
That's the Schaffner slogan. We only do baseball bats unless you want something else, and then we do that, too. Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. It's a hell of a slogan.
Hell yeah. Number 2, this is the first one where I think it's like a great weapon. This is the fire extinguisher level 3. 2 cost, takes up a hand slot. Fight, you get +1 fist and deal +1 damage to this attack. As an action, discard fire extinguisher, evade. Automatically evade all enemies engaged with you. You may exile fire extinguisher instead of discarding it to discard each non-elite enemy evaded by this effect. It's better than the Sledgehammer. Costs 1 less, takes up 1 hand, so you can, like, do something else with your other hand, because the top action's the same. The bottom action is just better.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're planning on exiling this, and, like, you have deja vu, this can, like, kill so many things. If this, like, kills 3 enemies, and you're not planning, like, kills, it discards them. But if it kills, like, 3 enemies...
Same thing.
Yeah.
For non-elite enemies, because they won't be worth victory anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Great for vengeance enemies, too. Snake. But, like, if you're, like, killing 3 enemies, and you're not playing a Deja Vu deck, it's probably still worth 3 experience. Like, because that's just, like, so much positive tempo that you gain. For 3 experience, your Survivor deck, you're probably, you know, running I mean, it's harder to run low on Survivors now, because the card pool is so much bigger. But the top action still just kills, right? Like, it's still it still just kills. But the bottom action is very powerful. Even to just evade, like, 4 enemies, or, like, 2 enemies, it's powerful. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This one's also not a weapon.
No, it's not a weapon.
Still the fire extinguisher. It's actually the same card.
Yeah, it's technically not supposed to be here, so my apologies for that, but...
It's close enough.
Yeah, it's close
enough.
Like,
without them, what are we talking about? Whether a shovel's better than...
Yeah, we don't...
like a meat cleaver or whatever.
Yeah. We don't get to talk about the glow up that was the fire extinguisher going from 11 to 2. And its upgrade. All right. Our number 1, which you probably have guessed what it is, it's Chainsaw. 4 cost, 4 experience, takes up both hand slots, uses 3 supply, spend a supply, fight, you get +2 fists, deal +2 damage for this attack. If it fails, either place a supply on Chainsaw or deal 1 damage to the attacked enemy. Excuse me.
Yeah, 3 damage is a hell of a drug. The fact that you can't really fail this... Well, I mean, you can fail the test, and if they've got Retaliate, that sucks, but you get something out of it, whether it's an extra spin on the Chainsaw or, you know, just dealing a point to them now, because maybe they've got 4 health, or... are very small.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know why you'd be doing that, but like...
But you might have to.
Sometimes you need a cultist to die.
Yeah. Yeah, this was something that, like, I'm pretty sure Brent and I talked about it last week. Oh, no, it was about the Enchanted Blade upgrade, where not having to spend your ammo unless you actually succeed on the test is very powerful. And, like, realistically, probably worth an experience all in of itself, as you can see on, like, Brandicathuga and Divination, right? Those cost 1, and that's, like, the starting point for that. So, like, that's probably, like, 1 experience on this card all in of itself. But then it deals 3 damage is a lot. Bryn ain't lying.
It's it's a big number. A lot of the non-elite enemies that they try to make difficult have 3 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
And either way, this kills them in 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Instead of the, like 2 or 4 that it's supposed to take you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very powerful. And it also deals its uses in supplies, which means...
very easy to get more of them.
Yeah, emergency cash 4, I think. No, 3. Emergency cash 3.
Yeah, 3, because it's 2 that's the draw card.
Yeah. And that puts 4 on this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a lot. That's a chainsaw and then some, right? And also, like, I mean, like, the whole scavenging, you could bring it back, right? Requires some work, once again, because you're probably fighting with it. Will Yorick. We saw recently in our Assets Only Challenge, this is what Bryn was doing. It's expensive.
Yeah, but like when you aren't doing anything else, or if you got Schaffners, because they sell baseball bats, or unless you're into chainsaws, in which case they do that too.
They do, where they're like, it takes up 80% of our magazine, and you're like, I get it. But yeah, chainsaw is a powerful weapon. The numbers on it are very good. There's also like, I still want to play the Silas deck with like the ghastly possession or whatever it is, where you recharge supply uses on it if you succeed. Seems really fun. There's just like a lot you can do with it, and just 3 damage is hard to argue with. Like, you only see that on guns. You don't see that on melee weapons unless it's the Cyclopean Hammer. Yeah, I will say a lot of people actually, there wasn't anyone who talked about it. Maybe it's because we bullied them not to, but a lot of people were also like, the Runic Axe is a very powerful card. Like, I think it's stronger than Cyclopean Hammer. So,
yeah, I mean, like, I think the options on just like the versatility on that card. Anyway, we're talking about red cards.
Yeah, which don't have, like, they have versatility, but not.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different.
Yeah, usually that like the fire extinguisher or the Gravedigger's shovel, where you can throw them away instead. To do a different thing,
as opposed to the Runic Axe, which
where
just
you
stays
just
in
show
play.
up and you're like, this guy, kill him. That guy way over there, I'll kill him too.
Yeah. Oh, what's this I found in his bones? A clue? Let's go. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. Whenever Travis is gone again, Britt and I are going to do the Mystic and Rogue melee weapons in one video. We're not going to, I don't think we're going to rate them against each other. We're going to
put the Seeker ones in there too.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true, yes. Yeah. We won't rate them against each other. Instead, we'll just like rate them in batches, where it's like Mystic top, Rogue top. Because it seems kind of disingenuous to like compare the Mystic melee weapons to Switchblade 2 or whatever. Switchblade, is it 2? Yeah,
it's 2.
Because it got tabooed up to 3. Yeah.
Card's very good.
Very good. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!